My name is Wes Littlefield with anglers.com, and if you want to go from this,
Dang it! That was a freaking giant.
to this,
That's a fish. That's a good fish. Right into the net.
Nice one, Wesley.
it all starts with the right rod. That's what we're going to talk about today, so let's get started. The other day, my wife asked me, why the heck do I need so many fishing rods? And I said, because I like fishing. And there's actually some truth behind the statement of needing more rods, because different rods have different length, actions, and power. So what the heck do these words actually mean? Obviously, we know what length means. We're talking how long the rod actually is. Now, shorter rods are gonna help you cast and be more accurate on your cast, where longer rods are gonna help you cast farther, but they're more difficult to be accurate with. So the action is talking about the rod tip. This rod specifically is a moderate action, and it's designed for crankbaits. So moderate action is gonna have a very bendy, kind of soft tip. This helps for crankbaits because when you cast, it helps load it up and actually launch that crankbait just like that. And it helps get a little bit farther cast. And when you set the hook on a fish, it doesn't just rip the crankbait out of their mouth. It has a little bit of give for when you set the hook. So you lose fewer fish when fishing a crankbait with a rod that has a moderate action. On the contrary, this rod that I'm holding is my jig rod, and I use it for like Texas rigs and stuff, and it has an extra fast action. You'll see that it does not bend nearly as easily as the other rod. And this helps me really drive home these bigger single hooks. I think of it like this. If it's got a treble hook on it, more than likely, I'm gonna want more of a moderate action rod. And if it's got a single big thick hook, I'm gonna want a stiffer, stronger rod. Therefore, an extra fast action rod. Another thing that goes along with how stiff the rod is power. Power though, isn't really talking about just the tip where the action is. Power is talking about the whole entire rod, how much strength the rod has. So this is a heavy power rod, which is another reason why it's great for jigs and Texas rigs, because you can cast it in there and you've got enough strength in the rod, and I can trust the rod not to break, not to bend over in half when I'm trying to really pull and haul a fish in that's all tangled up in the vegetation. So power talks about the overall strength of the rod, not just the tip. Now that we understand the length, action, and power of the rod, it's time to understand the differences between a spinning rod and a bait casting rod. Generally speaking, there's always exceptions in fishing. That's just part of fishing. But generally speaking, a spinning rod is used for finesse techniques. Now, what the heck do I mean by finesse techniques? Finesse techniques are like when you're slowing way down, you're throwing really small, lightweight lures and just fishing it very, very slow, finessing it. Whereas a bait casting rod is best for power fishing, for jigs, for even launching way farther out there, for getting more accurate casts even. All these things, a bait casting rod is better. Because I'm a power fisherman, most of the time I have a bait casting rod in my hand. However, I should probably pick this one up a lot more and I'd catch a lot more fish. So for beginners, I recommend getting a spinning rod. This is because a spinning rod can do it all. See, I can go fish finesse techniques with this, or I can throw a jig on here and fish a jig or a crankbait or whatever. Now granted, it's not gonna be as efficient as maybe using a bait casting rod, but I can still do it all. And I don't gotta worry about backlashes with the reel. That's why I always recommend beginners start with a spinning rod and graduate to a bait casting rod. Now that you can choose the right rod, it's time to move on down and pick the right reel. That video is down below me. This is another crucial part of learning to catch more fish, so I'll see you in that video.